All right, welcome to another episode of Medicine Mondays. I am yours truly, Dr. Maria-Pierre, your favorite board-certified internist, host of Medicine Mondays, as well as The Real Physician Reacts. This week, we have a special guest who really needs no introduction. I jokingly say this, but really, in truth, this is the celebrity of the Pierre Party of Five household. You hear her voice on every episode of the podcast. She gives me such a lovely introduction. Obviously, she's probably one of the most interviewed guests here on the show. Again, Maria, thank you for joining this week's podcast, this week's episode of Medicine Mondays.
Thank you for having me. I'm always excited to grace the stage and talk with you.
So we got a lot of great things to talk about. Those who are in the know, especially with the autism and Black community. We are coming fresh off the heels of the 2022 Autism and Black Conference. And I think it's extremely important for us to kind of talk about a recap discussion of what the conference was. How was the conference for you? And more importantly, what did you learn from it? What plans do you have moving forward?
Oh, yes. I think this is going to be a great conversation because we haven't really discussed in length with, other people how we felt about the conference. But for me, it was, I didn't think it would get any better after year one. I thought that, oh my gosh, we really did something here. And I was very nervous going into year two. Like, we're not going to be able to, meet the same bar as year one, but year two, we really did something in the community. We really did something impactful in the community. And I am just so proud of the hard work. A lot of people don't know it's just you and I who's really, putting together this entire conference. And just hearing the feedback of the attendees thinking that it's like a 20-person team when it's just you and I.
I wish it was 20-person.
Exactly. Lets me know that we got it right? They're like, it was completely seamless, just knowing where to go, having the app, being able to go from one session to the next, getting the notifications in the app saying, hey, meet us in this room. They were like, it was just completely seamless and they loved everything. So for me, it was just, we did year two, really amazing.
So let's talk about just kind of obviously the theme of this year's conference. And we've talked on previous episodes as far as how we led up to the theme. It was a fan vote, which I absolutely love. As far as your thought process when you had the theme and you said, all right, these are the speakers that I'm thinking about. This is kind of the lineup that I'm thinking about. This is kind of the way I want to present the information. How was that process for you?
So I knew that I really wanted one theme in particular. And when that theme actually won, I was very relieved because I had the whole conference planned around this theme. And I was like, if it doesn't win, then, I'm going to have to scratch everything I'm thinking. So the theme that I did want was culturally responsive parenting and advocacy. And that is the one that, won the fan vote. I knew that I wanted Cheryl Poe as one of the speakers to talk about restraints and seclusions, because a lot of people, don't, at least in our community, the Black community, they don't know that happens within the school system. And they don't know what to do next. So I know that I wanted Cheryl. I knew I wanted Althea, because Althea talks a lot about trauma. And she also talks a lot about regulation, and she uses Legos. So I knew that I wanted her there. I knew that I wanted Natasha Nelson of the Supernova Mama platform. I know that I wanted her there because she talks about her experiences as a adult Black autistic woman and raising two Black autistic little girls. So I knew in my mind, those are the people I really wanted, as well as Asiatu. I knew that I had to have them there. And I reached out to them, and they're the ones who actually helped me also get with deeper within the autism community and get a lot more autistic speakers there. So because of their connections, they helped our platform get a lot of the actually autistic speakers. And then, of course,
and that was an important thing for you, especially going this year, because obviously we heard the feedback from last year. Like we heard it loud and clear. The fact that we needed autistic individuals to not only just obviously be a part of the discussion, but be the discussion, which I thought was very important. And I think you definitely hit it out the park with that.
Exactly. I knew, especially also having gotten my own diagnosis, thinking about us not having a lot of conversations around adults last year. I know that I really wanted that this year. And because of ASEA too, not only did they help me get a lot of actually autistic speakers, I got enough to have a panel, an amazing adult autistic panel, which was just mind-blowing. The amount of vulnerability and transparency that happened on that panel. Some of the speakers told me that they really needed that they had never been in a space where they could let down their mask and be authentically them. And that was a healing moment for them. So that's, something that I hold very dear to my heart, that we were able to accomplish something like that. So yeah, those are the speakers I had in mind. And then of course we put out our call for proposals. And then seeing all of the amazing proposals that we were getting, I was like, oh my goodness, this is going to be we're going to blow it out the water. So that's really how I formed my mind. There was Mercedes Samudio, who I also wanted as a speaker to talk about the shame-proof parenting, because of course, in the Black community, that's something that we have to deal with a lot, the shame that we place on ourselves and then the shame that we get from others. So yeah, that's kind of how the speakers were all funneled and chosen. And a lot of people don't know is that we had so many speakers that we couldn't have everybody live. So we did the vault and had pre-recording. So a thing about me is that if your proposal is amazing, it's going to be hard for our team to not choose a proposal.
Right.
So the only time that we really don't choose a proposal if it really doesn't fit within our mission, our vision, and our theme. So yeah, that's really how the speakers were all funneled and chosen in my thought process with the speakers.
What were some of the highlights of the conference? Because obviously when you're in the middle of doing the conference, running a lot of the presentations, you don't really get to enjoy it until you kind of look back and see like, wow, like that happened. Like, what were some of the highlights during this year's conference for you?
One was the accessibility within the app and the convenience of that. I think.
And talk about the app, because it was for the.
Yes, we use the Hoover platform this year. Last year, we just did everything through Zoom. So we had one link for the entire day, which caused a lot for us on the back end, having to, edit and cut and upload. So this year we had the Hoover platform, and it was just so seamless, so convenient to be able to, one, split up all the session links, have every speaker's bio within that. And then if we went overtime in one room, just send an announcement to everybody, say, hey, meet us in the next room in 10 minutes and we'll be there. And then everybody gets the message and we're meeting there. So one, the convenience of the platform we used this year was just took a lot of stress off of me.
Right. And I think, and we talked about this, one of the big reasons why we wanted to do it is because last year felt so great. As far as just the speakers and the numbers of people who we know are watching. But one thing we noticed, right, and again, not only do we love the feedback, but we're probably our biggest critics, is we were like, man, there was really no way for the people within that community to connect with each other. especially if they weren't speakers and they didn't have it, like there was really no way to connect with each other. So that was a big reason why we went in that direction of getting on that platform, just so not only can it'd be much more easier to see the speakers, see what they offer, and all their offers, and which was great, but more importantly, so that other families like could talk to each other, can look up and like, hey, I'm in the state of Florida, like, is anyone in the state of, like, it was just an amazing aspect of just really trying to work on bringing that community together. Because again, it's autism in Black is one thing, but it doesn't do it any justice if you're not bringing the community together with you.
Exactly. And, we do get access to the app 2 months after our conference. So we still have access to the app, and we have so much engagement still going on in the app. People doing meetups, people talking about certain topics and connecting with one another. So of course, a part of the mission with Autism in Black is building those support networks and building those support circles. So seeing people continuing to do that is like, okay, we're not just leaving them with all of this information and nobody to kind of process it with. So seeing that and seeing the continued engagement in it is also something amazing, and a plus of having the app.
Was there any more highlights, any sessions that really kind of like, wow, like I was so glad that I was able to have this person on for discussion?
Yes, every single speaker. Every single speaker left me with something. And some of them, they are personal friends, Cheryl and Althea. But every time I listen to them, I still learn something. So yeah, every single speaker brought it. The panels, again, were just so transparent and so vulnerable, and having people just sit, and it was like they were just getting to witness a intimate conversation between friends happen, and to get a lot out of that conversation. So the panels were really a highlight. And then for me, as a Black autistic female, newly diagnosed, Aisha's session really,
I like that.
Yeah, it really did something to my soul, just to see somebody and experience a lot of parallels and answer a lot of questions within myself, because as everybody knows, I'm still kind of processing my own diagnosis. So just seeing and hearing her story really brought up a lot for me, and I appreciated that. So yeah.
So what do we have to look forward to after the conference? Because a lot of energy gets expelled leading up to the conference, during the conference, but for most conferences, not like Autism in Black, but for most conferences, like you get that energy boost leading up to it. You're high energy while you're at it. And then like 2 weeks later, that energy is kind of, and then you kind of go back to your normal, right? So what do you have in store for the community to look forward to even after the conference is long and gone?
I have to ask you if I'm okay to share it, because I know you like to have our stuff, no, you can't say this just yet. So what can I say?
Oh, we can be open. We're here. We can open. I love it.
Okay, so for one, our coloring book is up for pre-order now, which is going to help a lot with social emotional learning of children. And you can actually see it kind of behind Dr. Berry over there, across his shoulder.
Yes. I got I don't know if the camera could, express yourself feelings.
Yes, so we have that. And then something that we have been working on really hard behind the scenes, and both you and I are excited about, is the Autism in Black community that's coming, where we will be, having that community engagement with each other inside of a platform.
Right. And I think especially coming off of this conference and seeing what the benefit is of being able to reach out to your community. Like, again, we all have email listservs, we all have social media platforms, but at any moment, right? They can take those away, right? They can take away your Facebook, they can take away your Instagram at any moment. But having a platform of your own to be able to kind of reach out, to your community members, provide and serve your community members in a more direct fashion was definitely something we wanted to really partake in.
Exactly. And I want to share details of what's in it. Is that okay with you?
Oh, we can share a little. We can share a little because we're still building. So even the details now will likely be changed by the time it gets here.
Exactly. And we actually have our VIP attendees who are our beta testers for our community. So, that was something they were very excited about, and the perks of being a VIP attendee to the Autism and Black Conference. But it will include a monthly Q&A. We will have a monthly topic that we will be going over. So, whether it be discipline or self-esteem or self-care or whatever the topic of the month is, we will deep dive into it for those 31 days. They get an ebook to go along with the topic. We get a Q&A session that goes along with the topic. We're trying to get in guest speakers depending on what the topic is. There is a book club. We have a section for professionals who will be working within the Black disability community. We have a special section for Black fathers who are wanting that connection. So that's just some of the stuff that we'll be bringing with this community.
No, definitely excited. Especially obviously for those who may not know, I actually was, fortunate enough, I was able to have my own presentation at this year's conference, really speaking from the angle of a Black father raising an autistic child. And the feedback was absolutely, again, I'm not tooting my own horn, and y'all can ask them, right? I'm not tooting my own horn. Feedback was absolutely amazing because of the theme that, wow, I didn't know that someone was out here thinking like me. I didn't know someone was out here who had the same thoughts as me, because we had a couple of fathers in the chat while we were just asking questions. You could tell they were energized and fired up because it hit home on a lot of feelings that, especially as men, we don't like to address. And it was just one thing to hear me say, yep, I was sad, I was depressed, I was all of these things when my daughter was diagnosed. And now we're like, oh, wow, I was too. And now that connection was there. So we definitely want to make sure we build that community within that group as well, too, just to kind of continue to build and prosper as we move forward.
Yeah, and that was actually another highlight for me is one, for those of you who know, I've been trying to get Dr. Berry to have a niche with Black fathers within the autism and Black community, because it is something that is so needed. And I think you needed that push as well to see that this is something that we really need. I mean, there was conversation about the Autism and Black Conference for Fathers. There was conversation about,
right,
let's get this support.
Yeah, they want us to do a whole conference. They're like, whoa, let's relax now.
There was so much, a panel session for next year. There was so much conversation just out of your session. One of the fathers, he was there with his wife and he just took over her chat and he was like, this is my session and this is my time. And he got something that he needed out of that, and you got something that you needed out of that. So it was a beautiful moment. But yeah, most definitely. And I think it got our wheels turning for what's to also come next with Autism and Black down the line.
Absolutely love it. So the question that was asked, even probably mid-conference, what do we have to, as you leave the second year the conference is in chair, how do you build upon it for next year? More importantly, what people really want to know is, when is next year's? And we probably don't have that answer now, but the fact that people right now are energized for the next conference, amazing.
Yeah, I think we got our first ask of the date for next year's conference midday day one.
Right.
You know, like when is next year's conference happening? We're like, oh, you know, we still have another date here.
Right.
Give us a moment to, you know, get the stats going, and we'll have dates for you. So as of right now, we do not have a specific date for year 3 Autism in Black conference, but we do know that it will be in the month of April. So we know sometime during April will be year 3 Autism in Black conference. So that's what we have as far as a date. We did have some feedback of things to add for next year's. You know, we want some more talk about siblings and sibling relationships. We want some more in regards to Black fathers. So some more sessions, possibly a panel session if we get enough Black fathers interested. So yeah, you know, those are some of the thoughts and ideas for next year's. And then of course we really tried hard this year to get autistic individuals that use AAC devices or are non-vocal, and have them included in the conference as well. So hopefully next year we can actually do that and have that as well and be inclusive, because one thing about it is I try to be as inclusive as possible, but you know, some people may not be comfortable speaking in front of an entire audience. So hopefully next year we can add that in as well.
And I think you said it best, because there were definitely times during the conference where you could feel people breaking down. You could not feel, you could see them breaking down, see them crying, see them becoming emotional. But the reason why they were able to do that is because they felt safe.
Yes.
Because people don't do that in a place they feel like they gotta wear a mask around. They don't do that in a place that they feel they got to be protected of, you know, I wonder if someone's going to say something about me. Like, they don't do it in those spaces. But when they're in a space where safety is a priority, which we stress, and, you know, making sure that people feel comfortable just being themselves and allowing them to be themselves, allowing them to, you know, shed emotion, shed tears, which I think is phenomenal. And because it always received the most positive feedback. We are with you. We love you. We're here for you. Like there was never, in fact, there wasn't a negative feedback at all for any, like, again, our presenters, y'all did it. Like, y'all
amazing.
Y'all did it. Like, I was joking, Maria, Miss Heather, Dr. Heather, I'm not sure.
Heather Clark.
Heather Clark. She was phenomenal. That was like probably after Cheryl Pope, probably one of my highlights for sure of the conference. So shout out to Heather.
Yes, I had to send her a message. It was like, you know, Dr. Berry cannot stop talking about you. So he really enjoyed it. So yeah, that was a highlight. Heather had her own session, but then she was on both panels. And I think it was just a poignant moment to see something that happened on one of our panels and see how the conversation transpired of being a autistic individual who was offended by language that was used, and then educating the community on why it's so important to listen to those who have the experience. So if I am a Black autistic individual and I am telling you, you know, within our community, you know, I'm saying this, and you as a person who does not have that experience trying to talk over me about the experience, it can be something that is very triggering. So I think, you know, the attendees got to see that moment and see that, you know, wow, language really does matter. And we really need to educate ourselves on certain things and have that. So not a negative thing happened, but I think a lot of poignant moments happen where attendees could learn from it and use that day to day, you know, and just to see the resolution within the conversations happen, I think were very poignant moments.
Absolutely. So before we let you go, because this is a question that we got almost immediately as well. For someone who could not attend the conference, but is, you know, gonna watch this, gonna listen to this, and they say, wow, like I want to experience that. Like, how can that occur? Like, how can someone get involved and, you know, get in touch and purchase the replay of this year's conference?
Well, for the replay, you can go ahead and purchase The replay, the entire conference is available to purchase all of the replays, and you get access to the vault that those who attended the conference live have access to. So you won't be missing out on anything except, the live moment, but you get all of the sessions, all of the resources that were in there. Everything that's in the vault is yours to watch for a lifetime, and
I want to stress that, because a lot of times you'll go to a conference and they'll give you the recordings, but it'd be like, all right, you got 3 months with these recordings, and then we're snatching them away for you.
Exactly.
And we want to let people know, like, no, for life, right? Mm-hmm. As long as we're paying that bill, because we're going to keep paying that bill. As long as we're paying that bill, you will have access to that platform to watch all of the videos. There's a section of resources that had a whole bunch of amazing articles and just links that were shared throughout the conference. That's going to be there. You'll see a section for our exhibitors. So all of the speakers who also happen to be exhibitors, that way you can follow up with them as well too, because I think that's one thing people don't really talk about, that not only are our speakers phenomenal, but like after they put the Autism in Black conference on their resume, like people start reaching out for them, because it's almost like a stamp of approval. And that's something we probably would have never imagined just last year, thinking about like, hey, we should probably do a conference, that all of a sudden in some circles, speaking at our conference would be like a stamp of approval, and one to say like, oh, I want this person speaking at my conference as well.
Exactly. A lot of speakers from last year have told me they've gotten speaking engagements. A couple are now on actual boards because of, them speaking at the conference. I know that a few of our speakers had already gotten offers to speak somewhere else before the end of day one. So yeah, just having that impact on the community is so important, and getting our Black speakers into other circles and getting them on these stages to talk about what happens in our community. That's the most impactful thing. If you're going to be coming to the Autism in Black conference and get that experience, and then say, hey, this speaker would be a great fit within my community. And now we have more diversity within our own conferences that are happening, or our own organization and trainings. That is something that, just really makes me feel good. But what is that link for the people to get the replay? And I know you know that link.
Which one? The
replay links.
Oh, so they can go to, if they want to replay link one, they can actually go to your website, go to autisminblack.org, and it's actually under conference. The replay link is right there, or it is actually the conference 2022. So if they go to autism, what is it, AIB conference 22? That link will actually take them to the page where they can purchase the replays, and then lo and behold, they're there. But yeah, if they go to just autisminblack.org, right under the section under conference, you'll see the option to pick up the conference replays.
Yes, and that other link was autisminblack.org/conference22. No AIB in that one, it's just conference 22.
Oh, okay. And for those who are watching, I will make sure the links are in the description. The correct links are in the description. And my podcast listeners, it will also be in the show notes as well. So again, Maria, we are so appreciative of everything you do. Obviously, I am biased, but we are so appreciative of everything you do for this community. And we know that even when you do amazing work, we keep asking you to do more amazing work, because we know that because you're a special person, you can kind of handle it. And obviously we're here to support you every which way. How can people follow with you? What like businesses, organizations, like give them all of those details before we get you out of here.
Sure. For organizations that would like me to speak at their conferences or speaking engagements, events, or would like to hire me for culturally responsive trainings, go right to the website, autisminblack.org, and there are specific tabs for that. You can also find me on Instagram at Autism in Black, or on Facebook at Autism in BLK. You can also listen to the Autism in Black podcast, which is on most podcast streaming platforms as well. And then look out for our community store that has a lot of our merch, and we'll house our courses, the replays, and our coloring book that me and my daughter have co-authored.
Amazing. And again, that community store is actually shop.autismandblack.org. Pick up your gear. I'm actually, you can't see it, I'm actually wearing one of the conference gears as well. She's actually wearing the conference gear. So yeah, so again, just amazing things for the community. We appreciate you. We love you. And remember, Lunch and Learn community, I'm gonna see you guys next week.
Bye, everybody.